And welcome everybody to another special episode of Geeking, Poetic podcast. I am your host, Larry Roberts. This happy, jolly little elf over here is my co-host and none other than
Megan Guest.
And what are we going to do here today? What are we talking about?
We are going to talk about the top 10 holiday movies as voted by you guys.
Yes, voted by you in our group on Facebook called the Geeking Squad. We've got a group. It's free and open for everybody to join as long as you are a polite and fun-loving geek like us. We shared this around social media in general. We got a whole bunch of votes in. We gave you 10 movies to choose from and to rank them according to least and most favorite holiday movies. And man, the results were interesting.
Very.
I didn't quite go the way I thought it was going to go for some of these movies.
Nope, wasn't cut and dry for sure.
No, definitely not. So what we're going to do is we're going to count down from 10 to 1, and then we're just going to kind of give our little brief thoughts and interjections on these. But we're not going to waste a whole bunch of time. We know you want to know what the list is, so here we go. Starting off with number 10.
10.
All right, so coming in at number 10 with the least amount of votes was The Santa Claus. I was really surprised this one didn't do better. I'm kind of sad that this didn't actually rate higher because honestly, this is one that's really grown on me over the years, and now I feel like I have to watch it every holiday season. I think it's a good choice for families and that it's got plenty of like silly stuff and lives up to the whole, mythos of Santa Claus and everything for the kids, but it's got plenty of adult humor in it too, so the adults won't mind watching it along with the rest of the family. I love the way they try to explain how Santa Claus works and how he's been around all this time and everything. I really enjoy this one, and I like the sequels too. I think they're all really good too, so this one for me would have ranked much higher.
I agree. This is a must-go-to for me, and I think it didn't rank as high because I think it's the newest one on our list.
That's one of the newer ones.
And just like you, it's growing on you, and I think it's going to grow on more people too as the years go by. And I'm like you, I love the sequels. I love the series that they're coming out with. I haven't watched the new one yet this year. I'm a little behind.
Okay.
But I've watched the entire series up to this.
Okay.
So it's a highly recommend for me. So I'm sad it's a little low, but it's on the list, so I'm happy.
I enjoy this one more and more as the years go by.
Absolutely.
9.
All right, coming in at number 9, we have a classic one, Miracle on 34th Street. Now, it's funny that this one has kind of become a little bit of the dark horse, the underdog on this list, because once upon a time, this was considered one of the absolute classic holiday films, but it seems like it's slipped a little bit over years. And I think maybe it's either because it just doesn't have that much familiarity with people. It's not shown as much as some of these other movies, like on television and everything. Or it's just a little out of step with the times and stuff. But for me, I really enjoy this one. I think it's cute. I love Santa in it, or, quote unquote Santa. They never really quite specify whether we're really supposed to believe he's Santa or not. But the acting is well done. The writing is well done. Yes, it's of its time, but I would rank this one much higher than what it got here at number 9. How about you?
I agree with number 9, actually. I remember this being huge when I was growing up, but I never got into this one for whatever reason that may be.
Okay.
So I can understand how it slipped over the years. I don't think it's going to be quite as iconic as what it was way back in the day.
Yeah, okay.
So this is not one I would choose to snuggle up with my kitties on a snowy night with some hot cocoa and put on. This is not my choice. So
okay, fair enough.
I'm fair with number 9.
All right.
8.
Okay, and then coming in at number 8, we have The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, and see, I knew this one was going to be a little bit contentious because it's like, is it a Halloween movie? Is it a Christmas holiday movie? Is it both? Is it neither? I knew this was going to be a tough one. I had a feeling it wasn't going to rank that highly because of that. But I still think it's a brilliant movie in that it combines both holidays. I think the songs are great. I think, the voice acting in it is great. The animation's great. It's Tim Burton. We love Tim Burton and everything. For me, I would put something like Miracle on 34th Street higher than this one because this one, especially about 2/3 of the way through the movie, I don't know why. When it gets to Oogie Boogie and stuff, it just starts to lose me and I start to drift away from it. Plus, being honest with you, this is more of a Halloween movie for me than it is a Christmas or, a winter kind of movie and everything. But it's still great. I still rank it highly and everything. But yeah, so for me, being at number 8, yeah, that seems pretty fair.
Okay. This one, again, another one I never really got into growing up. I think it was ahead of its time. It was a little too weird for me.
Yeah, it's
when
weird.
I was growing up. I'm going to go between. I'm going to say this isn't a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. It's a Thanksgiving movie because it's a great in-between movie.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
We still went Halloween. We're ready for Christmas, so let's make it. This is a Thanksgiving movie.
Has nothing to do with Thanksgiving.
Nothing to do with it, but it's a happy in between. And Thanksgiving doesn't have its own movies half the time. So.
Yeah, that's true. Not enough of them. Yeah, I could watch this at Thanksgiving. I was going to say, this is one of those movies I could watch almost any time of the year because it's just generally entertaining. It doesn't evoke like that holiday spirit for me. So yeah, that's okay. Fair enough. I think it's fine where it's at.
7.
All right, and coming in at number 7 with the way you all voted for this one, it is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, to be honest with you, number 7 almost seems kind of low for this one because this is one that's just continued to get more and more popular over the years, like some of the other ones on this list. And now, Christmas Vacation is considered an absolute classic. For me, for whatever it's worth, this was just never one that really clicked with me. Chevy Chase is kind of hit or miss for me. I love Beverly D'Angelo. I love Juliette Lewis. I thought they were great. It is a really good cast. It's got some cute and funny moments in it, but this just isn't one of those ones that I want to go for when the holiday season comes around. It's not a bad movie by any means, and I totally get why people have made this a classic for themselves now, but it's just not one that ever clicked with me. Do you like this one?
I am the opposite of you. I love this one.
Oh.
This is a definite go-to for me every season. I've seen it a couple times this year already. As a kid, I adored this movie growing up. It cracked me up every time something happened to Clark. Everything goes awry for him. And as a kid, that was hilarious. Watching him try to put that Christmas tree up, and it was too big for the car, it's too big for the house, and him fussing at the neighbors, and I cracked up at this movie. I thought it was hilarious. And now that I'm an adult, I find it even more hilarious because I understand the family aspect of it and the dynamics that come with that and how you want to make it a perfect Christmas, but my God, is it draining on you?
Yeah.
So I get that aspect of it as well, too. So I adore this movie. This would rank way higher for me.
Wow. Okay, cool. It's an undisputed classic at this point, so what do I know?
6.
All right, so coming in at number 6, almost in the square in the middle of our list, you guys voted It's a Wonderful Life. And man, another one that's really interesting because through growing up, this one was always considered by most people I encountered to be like the holiday movie. This was the absolute hands down classic. And I have strong sentimental ties to this because we watched this every Christmas Eve. It was tradition with my family. So to me, it has strong tradition. Now, that being said, I gotta tell you, I just recently watched it for the first time in several years, and my views on it have changed. Not in terms of it being like bad or not good. I still think it's a fantastic movie, but it's not as endearing to me in terms of it being a holiday movie as much as I remember it being, especially with more adult eyes and everything. I'm like, this is a really serious, kind of dark, kind of somber movie through a lot of it, and its tie to the holiday season is kind of tenuous at best. It's really only sort of at the end of the movie that it comes around to that. And I criticize a lot of other movies that people consider to be holiday classics for exactly this reason. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting how this has changed for me. Do I still love watching this at the holiday time, and everything like I just did the other day? Yeah, I do, but it doesn't quite evoke that same kind of warm holiday spirit for me that I yearn for out of a holiday movie. So rating it right in the middle, around number 6, yeah, that's pretty fair to me, actually.
Okay. So this is what I did not ever watch growing up. I don't ever recall seeing this. So I don't have that sentimental value to it. And trying to watch it as an adult, I can't.
Really?
I've tried to give this thing a fair shake because it's so iconic.
Right.
And I just find it so utterly boring.
Wow. Oh, I don't think it's boring.
I cannot get through it. I don't ever think I've seen it all the way. I've seen bits and pieces only. So again, I may not be giving this a fair rating. This is not one of my top Christmas holiday movies ever.
It is. It's an older movie. It's slower paced. It's some of the themes and some of the dialogue in it is not aged all that well for some people. So I get it. Yeah, I get it. I'm with you. That's fine. I love the movie though, but so it ranks high for me as being a great movie and sentimentality, but yeah, I'm okay with it being number 6.
I'll put it on my list eventually.
5.
All right, folks, we've now reached the top 5, and coming in at number 5 is none other than Home Alone. So yeah, this is another one that I really enjoy this movie. I think it's hilarious. I think it's well done. It's well acted. It's one that I enjoy watching, but it's not one that really evokes a lot of holiday spirit for me. Truthfully, I could almost watch this any time of the year, and still enjoy it equally as much. I don't really dispute it being a holiday movie because it's got enough of that spirit in it, and I get the whole message, but yeah, it's just a movie that's got a little bit too much negativity to it to really make it a feel-good holiday movie for me. It's extremely violent, and which is part of the greatness of it, but again, I don't mind if it's on at the holidays. I'm cool with it. And I understand that for some generations that grew up with it, it's such a holiday movie. So I guess kind of like how I grew up with It's a Wonderful Life, I completely get why this one's in there. But yeah, this one wouldn't even rank at number 5 for me. It'd be a little bit lower down the list. So how do you feel about this one?
I actually agree with you, and I grew up with it. I just rewatched this recently, and everybody is terrible in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't like a single character.
I've said that for years.
Root for them.
Everybody's a jerk in this movie.
Everybody is an absolute jerk. So I have a hard time. I think it's a fun movie. I enjoy it. Am I going to watch it to get myself in the mood for the holiday season? I should, because it gets me ready to deal with the people when I go shopping for the holidays.
Oh, God forbid you go to an airport, right?
Oh.
Oof.
So I can't put this on my top 5 for that reason. But it's a fun movie. I love it.
Yeah.
Just not my holiday movies.
Yeah, it's not my pick for the holidays, but I don't mind if it's on at the holidays because it's just such an enjoyable movie anyway.
Right.
4.
Okay, coming in at number 4, possibly the most contentious holiday movie of all time, depending on what side of the fence you're on. It is none other than Die Hard. Well, of course this one was going to rank highly. To be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised it didn't rank even more highly because while people are never going to stop arguing on social media and everywhere else on whether or not this is truly a holiday film or not, the bottom line is that most people on either side of that argument can agree that this is an excellent movie. Personally, like I already mentioned, I kind of prefer my holiday films to be a little less violent and a little less death and stuff like that. But there is still undeniably a spirit that carries throughout the story, and with John McClane's character and everything that embodies the holiday spirit and the family sense and all that stuff. So, like, I get it. And you know what? For a lot of people, I understand not everything at the holidays can just be like sugar plums and elves and snow and reindeer and everything else. They need like a little something else there. And what better than Die Hard for that, you know?
This was actually my first movie this season to watch to get me the Christmas spirit.
Of course it was.
I was like, I'm putting on Die Hard. So I do enjoy this movie. I am team Die Hard Christmas movie all the way.
Okay.
While I do agree with you on the aspect, it's a violent one. And normally I would agree with you completely that, this isn't really my thing, the violence and stuff like that. But this is my one exception to that rule. I think this is so fun. Even the second one's at Christmas time too, but the first one is the iconic Christmas movie. And it is not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from Nakatomi Plaza. Period.
3,
All right, and coming in at number 3 is Elf. Now, I gotta say, I know this movie's really popular nowadays, but I was really surprised that it ranked this highly. I mean, I knew it would do well, but this was a little bit of a surprise to me personally. This definitely can be considered a new classic. It's got some great gags in there, and it definitely has plenty of the Christmas spirit throughout. Will Ferrell is hilarious in this, but I have to be in the mood for that. Like, I'm not necessarily always in the mood for a movie like Elf because it could just be a little bit much at times. It belongs on the list, and it definitely deserves to rank pretty high, I think.
Now, this is one my older nieces and nephews played nonstop.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Way back when they were young children. They're all grown now. So I watched it plenty way back then. This is not one of my go-tos. I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan.
Right.
But this movie, I can handle with him in it. I think it's done just right.
It's perfect for him.
Perfect for him. He plays that childlike innocence.
Yeah.
While being in an adult body, it's hilarious. I'm just gonna say it's hilarious. And having Zooey Deschanel in it.
Yeah, she's great.
I love her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So this is one I could see this working its way into my Christmas routine. I have watched it this year, so I could see this getting up there and growing on me a little bit more. So I'm glad it's up high, actually.
Okay, cool.
2,
All right, and now we're in the top 2. It's the fight for the top spot. Who took number 2? Well, it is none other than A Christmas Story. So I had a feeling this one was going to rank really high because this one is just so incredibly popular now. And it's amazing how this movie started off as such a small kind of like cult following type film. And it didn't have a lot of fanfare when it came out. So I remember when it came out, but it has grown into one of the most iconic holiday films of all time. It's hilarious. It's so funny. It has so many memorable lines. People are quoting this all the time. The acting is great. The writing is great. But I do have to acknowledge this seems to be, at least amongst the people I know, a real love it or hate it film. I know people that either just love this movie or I know people that hate this movie and avoid it at all costs. But overall, most of the people I know seem to love it, and I love it too. So I didn't expect it necessarily to make number 1. But man, the fact that it gets to number 2 just clearly shows how much people just love this film.
Yes, this was my top 5.
Okay.
So I love this movie as well. I did not see this as a child.
Oh,
I don't think I've even heard about it.
That's what I said. It was really kind of underground.
Yeah, until I was an adult. So then I watched it, and it's a classic. I have to watch it every single year. It plays for 24 hours on some channels, I do believe.
It does.
And I think it gets a lot of love in our area.
Right.
Because it takes place in the region here.
Yes, it does.
So it gets a little extra love because we can all relate. It's like, yep, that's how much snow we actually get.
It's true. So it's kind of timeless, and as such, it ranks at number 2.
1.
All right, and coming in at the top spot, number 1. I was really kind of surprised. As much as I love this movie, I did not think that all of you out there who participated and voted were going to rank this so highly, but you did, and we're talking about White Christmas. So for me, this is possibly my favorite holiday movie of all time, or at the very least, it ranks towards the top. And it's really cool to see how this movie, it's, one of the oldest ones on the list, has just endured and still retains so much of its popularity with the public. And it's interesting how this is like carried on through generations and stuff. And I think a lot of it is because it's lighthearted, it's family friendly, it's got great songs, a lot of which, people know, of course, the theme song especially. It is a little bit of its time. There are certain themes and certain things that I'm sure some people can't really relate to anymore, but it looks great. For a movie that was made in the early 50s, I'm amazed at how good it looks. It was preserved really well. It sounds great. The dancing is fantastic in this movie. It's just so enjoyable. This is what I look for when I want like the holiday movie. I want singing, dancing, comedy, warm moments, all that kind of stuff. And this movie gives it to you.
I completely agree with everything you just said.
For once.
For once. This is the absolute must watch for me every single year. I was actually shocked. I was at my brother's at Thanksgiving, and my preteen nephew was like, I want to watch White Christmas. He's like, over a newer Christmas? Are you sure? He's like, yes, I'm positive. And they put it on. He was singing every song and quoting it as they went through.
Wow.
Now, I think I might have subliminally put that in his mind because as a baby, I made a CD and put a bunch of White Christmas songs on there. But it worked because this is a fantastic movie. I was very excited to see it at number 1, and all you guys agree. So
Yeah. I'm really shocked that this came in at number 1. I mean, I knew it was still popular with a lot of people, but it's great when you see something transcend generations like that and still retain its popularity. Might not be as exciting as Die Hard, and it might not be as funny as Elf and things like that, but it's got it where it counts. And that's it for us with this list. Once again, if people get angry and they're like, how could you rank this there? Or how could you leave this off the list? I mean, there were things that people brought up like Gremlins and other stuff like that. I mean, we're going to do this again in the future. There's so many holiday movies. This is just the one we're doing this time. So if you have suggestions for ones you think absolutely need to be brought up and voted on in the future, please post your comments below. Second of all, keep in mind, these are just opinions. These are just our opinions and the opinions of the relatively small amount of people that we polled in the Geeking Squad group and on Facebook and such that we asked their opinions. So don't freak out. This isn't definitive anything. We're just had fun with this, and it's just something to, to think about. Maybe it'll spark your interest to put a couple of these on this week, while you're getting ready for the holidays and everything. But thank you so much for all your likes, all your shares, your views, your support. It means the world to us.
And if you want your vote to count the next time, make sure you go over to the Geeking Squad group on Facebook and join. And that way you can put your 2 cents in next time.
Yeah, maybe it'll go more your way, right? Yeah, exactly.
Every vote counts.
It sure does. We will be back soon with more content in 2024. We've got all sorts of stuff planned, so we hope to see you there. In the meantime, everybody, however you celebrate or if you don't celebrate, everybody just have a great end of the year. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.